The ductwork system in our home is mostly forgotten, but paying attention to it can bring some big benefits. Ignoring it can bring some big pitfalls. I'm Greg Brooks, the EMC-TV, and we have with us here Riggs Santos, who is an energy auditor expert. And we're going to talk to you today about why you should seal the ductwork in your home, and then tell you a little bit about how to do it. So Riggs, what are some reasons that we should seal the ductwork in our home?
Well, Greg, one of the main reasons is basically cost. The other one is pretty much comfort in the home. Leaky ducts, for one, if you have a lot of leaky ducts, you can basically have a lot of comfort issues in the house. Some rooms might be warmer or cooler than others, and vice versa, as well as energy costs. With a lot of leaky ducts in the basements or in attics, that can actually prone the thermostat to constantly keep running and running prematurely and actually have longer run cycles. So it's very important to identify where the duct leakages are so you can prevent these things from happening.
Mm-hmm. In a typical home, Riggs, how much duct leakage would you say the typical system probably has?
That varies, but typically between 10 to 20% or even greater. Basically 20% of the total airflow, if it's in duct leakage, you can lose the efficiency about 50%,
mm-hmm.
and that's a big number.
So you can save a lot of money.
Absolutely.
You're actually, the air that you're paying to heat or cool is just being blown out in the atmosphere. Okay, besides then saving money and energy, are there any health aspects?
Yes, there are. There's a lot of pesticides, crawl spaces, attics, insulation. A lot of people tend to have allergies due to fiberglass fibers and things of that nature. And if you have a lot of duct leakage, all those fibers can bypass the filter and get into the home as well.
Okay, we fired the unit up and it's running now. It's drawing air through it. So Riggs is going to show us now some typical areas where a lot of leakage occurs. And he's got a smoke pencil there. It's inert smoke that will just be drawn into the unit at those places.
Right. Greg, and a lot of areas, the closer it is to the air handler, the higher the pressure is. And this is where you get the most air leakage. And if you start looking and you smoke the system, you can see that it's drawing a lot of air through these openings here. And the closer it is, like I said, to the air handler, the higher the pressure, and this is where you're going to start losing more airflow.
Mm-hmm.
And by looking at these areas, it will help you identify wire penetrations as well is a really issue.
Mm-hmm.
By smoking it down, you'll be able to see how much airflow you're losing.
So Riggs, the air down here in the basement now is about 60 degrees, so you're sucking cold air. Plus, if there was a gas can or fumes or chemicals, or that stuff would just be sucked right in.
All those fumes and vapors would get sucked in, and like I said, it bypasses the filter, so not only is it getting sucked in, blown into your home, but it's also getting trapped dust and particles in the coils, so that could pose another problem.
Looks like to me this door, it has screws in it, so you might want to get back in it at some point. How would you seal up this door then?
Well, you don't permanently want to seal this door. What you want to do is put some type of adhesive here that you can easily, if you need to go in there to have it serviced or maintenance, that you can pull it off. Like some approved UL 181 foil tape is a really good source to seal this off without having it permanently sealed, that you can easily get back in and out of it at will. So those are the kind of things that we will show. Typically, in a system like that, you would basically have, a UL 181 tape that you just peel back, and you easily put it on there just to make sure that the air is not going to get in there or escape. And then if you need to get some repairs done, you can easily pull it back, and you're okay.
The Riggs, I noticed that is a shiny tape, and that didn't look like the old duct tape that we
No, duct tapes are not really made for ducts, to be honest with you. This is basically an approved tape for ducts that will permanently bond if you have to, and they will not just come off at will like duct tape would.
So don't use duct tape for ducts.
Don't use duct tape, because that will not work.
Okay. So Riggs, talk about this a little bit and show us some different methods for sealing the ductwork.
Well, Greg, as you can see, we have two different types of ductwork here. We have hard pipe, which a lot of heating and air contractors like to use.
That's just basically sheet metal around it.
Basically sheet metal around, and then what they do is they'll go ahead and put a sleeve of insulation to cover and protect it. Secondly, they have what you probably typically see around. This is flex duct. Basically, it's just a plastic liner with some wires around it and some insulation that you typically see out there. One of the things that you want to make sure, as is being built, you want to make sure that there is tape, UL 181 tape, throughout the whole duct assembly. And when sealing that, you want to go ahead and put the tape at the joints like so. So this way it will protect any gaps. The bigger the gap, the harder it's going to be for the mastic to really adhere to the area, which could tend to crack and lose its connection.
All right.
So
we talked about tape a little earlier. Now we haven't talked about mastic before. What is mastic?
Mastic is basically a paste that is designed to seal ductwork. It's a water-based air duct sealant. This is probably one of the best things that they can actually make for duct tape. Instead of using the conventional duct tape, you use the UL 181 approved tape and the mastic, and once you seal this, it gives it a permanent bond that is guaranteed not to leak.
So whatever we buy, whether it's tape or mastic, it should say UL 181 on it.
That is correct. UL approved tape and sealant.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So let's show them how to do it.
Basically, what you want to do is just get yourself enough mastic on the brush and just pretty much apply it down and around through all the areas. Make sure that you pretty much do not see the lettering on the tape, which the more mastic you put, the better the seal that you're going to have. As well as your duct board. This is your supply plumb. This is what you usually see on top of the unit. It's very common that if this is not sealed, in time this tape will pull away, and when that happens, it keeps building pressure and pressure, and this is where you start getting leakage. To prevent that, you put your tape on there, and you pretty much go all the way across and around the tape and wherever it's connected. So this is basically what you would want to do. Just make sure that everything is properly sealed and that there is no cracks or joints exposed for potential duct leakage.
Looks like just a real thick paint.
That is correct. Basically, you're painting your ductwork just like you would paint your house.
And so then it dries, it hardens,
and you have yourself a permanent seal, and you have proper air distribution, and turns into savings and comfort.
For more information, go to these sites, waltonemc.com and southface.org, and search duct sealing. For EMC TV, this is Greg Brooks.